This country is falling apart because Shaitan is taking over. This country has done more evil in the world, more evil than most other countries in the world. This country has done it. And there is a huge abundance of jinn here, evil jinn. Yeah. If I had the time, I could have lectured to you. This is Monkey Town. And Allah says in Surah ar-Rahman, سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. Just one small ayah, that's all he needs. I'm going to deal with both of you who are laden with sin. The jinn and the human beings. And when Allah deals with them, this country is gone. This country is finished. And how will He deal with them? نُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَازٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. I'm going to send against you a flash of fire, and it will be followed by smoke. And when that happens, you have no one to help you. Me, I understand that clearly. That's the big war that's coming. And that has to be nuclear war. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ spoke about that war. And he said, you know about the mountain of gold? You know about the mountain of gold? If you don't know, well, you got some homework to do. They're going to fight for the mountain of gold. This is Sahih Bukhari. And he said that 99 out of every 100 who fight for that mountain of gold will be killed. So this cannot be conventional war. This has to be a war using weapons of mass destruction. That's nuclear weapons and thermonuclear weapons. And so I have come to the conclusion that the Dukhan is around the corner. When nuclear war takes place, the mushroom clouds that come from those nuclear weapons will block out the sunlight. Block out the sunlight. And there are differing hadiths on the subject. The Christians have their own views on the subject about how many days there'll be no sunlight, the Christian eschatology. And our eschatology also has some, but nobody touches this subject. I've never come across anybody lecturing on this subject. And so my view is that Dukhan is not to be interpreted. No, it is literal. Literal. There will be literal smoke, meaning the mushroom clouds from nuclear explosions, and it will block out the sunlight. Then I'm going to send against you a flash of fire, and the flash of fire will be followed by smoke. That seems to me to be the nuclear weapons exploding with fire, and the mushroom clouds which follow the nuclear explosions, the smoke. And there's a whole surah of the Quran named Surah Dukhan, or smoke. The Christian eschatology speaks of 3 days when there'll be so much smoke. Notice the similarity between Christian eschatology and Islamic eschatology. Notice the similarity. The Christian eschatology is going to be 3 days of smoke. The whole sky is covered with smoke, meaning the mushroom clouds, but the word is smoke. And so there'll be no sunlight. If there is prolonged darkness with no sunlight, nothing will grow. No food will grow, number one. Number two, the temperature of the earth will become so cold no one will survive. No one can survive that cold. Hmm? And you won't have electricity after that, no? So Christian eschatology speaks of 3 days. If it's 3 days of smoke, then you can survive 3 days. In a hadith, there's about 40 days of smoke, darkness, no sunlight. 40 days. I don't know which one it's going to be. I hope it's the Christian side. I hope it's the 3 days. So that for 3 days there will be no sunlight, and therefore the temperature on the surface of the earth is going to be freezing. So in preparation for the war which is coming, we need to take into consideration, number one, storage of food. And you're not going to store food in plastic because the plastic will melt. Storage of water, you're not going to store water in plastic, the plastic will melt. You will not store water in glasses, the glasses will break. Okay? Storage of food, storage of water, and storage of wood. Wood for cooking and for making a fire to keep yourself warm. I want to end. Okay, my Islamic eschatology comes from the Quran, first of all. And then it comes from the Hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, which are in harmony with the Quran. When from these two sources we get the information that one of the major signs of the last day is Dukhan. And Allah confirms in the Quran that the Dukhan, or the smoke, will come after a flash of fire. يُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَازٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. Surah al-Rahman. So the smoke comes after a flash of fire. It appears to me, Dean, that this points very clearly in the direction of the mushroom clouds that come from nuclear explosion. And so I don't know what is HARP. I have not had the time to devote attention to HARP. Those who have their time to do it should do it, and let them speak about it, and allow me to restrict myself to eschatology which comes out of the Quran and Hadith. Chemtrails, I don't know about the chemtrails. I see in the sky, and people write to me about the chemtrails. Yes, I can see it in the sky. But those who have the scientific knowledge, the expertise, they have the technical knowledge with which to be able to comment in a serious way about HARP and about chemtrails. They should do that rather than I speak on a knowledge on a subject that I don't have the competence on which to speak. So very clearly, my view is that the smoke is attached to the flash of fire and therefore to the Great War. وَنُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَازٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ. And we're going to send against you a flash of fire, followed by smoke. Think. In Surah al-Isra, he said, وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. Not a single town or city will escape, but we're going to destroy them all. Which surah? Surah al-Isra. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَسْطُورًا. Not a single town or city will escape, but we will destroy them all. And those which escape destruction will be punished with terrible punishment, And this is a matter inscribed in the Kitab. But Allah will not destroy a town or a city which does not deserve to be destroyed. Yes, He says that in the Quran several ways. He will not punish you if you don't deserve to be punished. So now we have to understand that not a single town or city which deserves to be destroyed will escape. They will all be destroyed. And when Allah is destroying them all, you have to go back to the flash of fire, followed by smoke, and the smoke is Dukhan. My understanding is nuclear war. The Surah al-Rahman is anticipating nuclear war. Flash of fire, followed by smoke, and every town and city which ought to be destroyed will be destroyed. You can't do that with conventional warfare. So when the nuclear war takes place, and we are now on the door of nuclear war, and I am at the age of 76, one of the only ones in the world of Islamic scholarship, one of the only ones using the Quran to try to explain this subject to you. So it is something to make you weep when the doors of the masjid are closed to me. Wait on Judgment Day. Wait on Judgment Day. Wait on Judgment Day. So, who are those towns and cities to be destroyed? Go to the Quran for the answer. Number one on the list is a man can marry another man and get a marriage certificate. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. And when he destroyed them with a particular vengeance that they sunk to the lowest part of the earth. And he said, I bless this as an ayah, meaning if you return to Sodom and to homosexuality, I'll return with my punishment. Who are those today who are boasting? The law requires a man and a man. The law permits a man and a man to marry and get a marriage certificate. The Western world, modern Western civilization, not Russia, not Russia, not Russia! Sometimes I have to shout to get people who are sleeping to wake up. Yes, to wake up and show some respect for the Book of Allah. Who are those who are going to be destroyed by Allah? Those who are in riba. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Take notice of a declaration of war from Allah and His Messenger. If you are consuming riba, who are the riba capital of the world, the modern Western world? With their banking system and with their monetary system of bogus and fraudulent and haram paper money. And I have studied my subject on money, so don't challenge me. I have studied my subject of money, so don't challenge me. It's not normal for people to speak the way I do. No. It's not the normal way for a scholar to speak. But when the house is burning down and the doors of the masjid are closed to me, what should I do? The house is burning down. Yes. The second people to be destroyed are those who are consuming riba. And this is what the Western world is doing. And who is the third? Perang. And Allah not only destroyed him for his oppression and godlessness, but Allah preserved his body. So when the body comes back, the message will come back. You return to oppression and godlessness, I'll return to my punishment. And that's what the Western world is doing. They are oppressing for 500 years and they become godless. So when Allah sends the flash of fire, followed by smoke, you can say goodbye to the Western world. Western civilization will not survive. This civilization laden with sin will not survive. This is the importance of Islamic eschatology. to use the Quran, and I've only quoted one or two verses, there are many more, to explain what is happening in the world today and to anticipate what is coming tomorrow. What should we do? Answer: when you're faced with an evil from which there is no escape, always choose the lesser of the two evils, the lesser of the two evils. And my advice to you, particularly if you have children, is to get out of the cities before it's too late. You're going to lose your children if you've not already lost them. And go to the countryside. If you cannot leave Britain, if I could go and live in Pakistan, I'll do that. Oh yes. I tell you, I eat a naan in Pakistan is far better than anything you can have in Britain here. I had naan today. My first naan in Britain. I said, but this is not even in a little roadside juggi in Pakistan. Roadside where we used to buy a naan for maybe 2 rupees. 2 rupees for a naan.
No, 8 rupees.
How much?
8 rupees.
8 rupees now? Right. 2 rupees or 1 rupee for a naan. When I went to Pakistan in 1964, $1 was equivalent to 1 rupee 75 paisas, yeah. So it could not be 2 rupees, it had to be much less than that. We used to have chawanni and thanni in those days. So see if you can build a team of like-minded people, particularly the young, and buy land in the remote countryside where land is cheapest. And when you buy a large enough parcel of land, you build small huts. So you begin with small huts. You don't have to go to the bank to borrow money for that. You can build a hut yourself. All of you team up together and build your hut, and then build his hut and build his hut. Move your family out of the cities. Go to the remote countryside and produce their own food that you're going to consume. Don't depend on the supermarket for food. Produce your own food, okay? Milk, meat, vegetables. That's priority number 1. You cannot produce your own food unless you have water. You need water. And so long as there's sunlight, there'll be food. And when there is no sunlight, is that possible?
Yes.
There'll be no sunlight?
Yes.
Yeah, wait for the big war. Wait for the great war that's coming. And you see no sunlight. And that's a hadith not only in our eschatology, in Christian eschatology as well. When there is no sunlight, there'll be no food. You can't grow anything. وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا, Allah says in the Quran. I'm going to transform this earth into a dust bowl. Nothing will grow. This is in Surah Al-Kahf. So you can stock up on canned food. You can stock up on non-perishable food so you can survive for some time until the clouds can drive away the smoke, the Dukhan, and the sunlight can return. And it is a time for you to buy dinar and dirham. If you're using sterling pounds to buy it, there is no escape. Don't tell me this is haram, because there is no escape. None. So we're choosing the less of the two evil. So my final comment is to remain faithful to what is money in Islam. You should be buying not so much dinar, but more dirhams. Because it is dirham that you use for buying and selling food, particularly in Akhir Zaman. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.